Insulted. Joe Biden finally visits the Maui massacre site. Thank you for joining me for yet another in-depth look into the unbelievable levels of cover-up and corruption regarding the massacre in Maui. I have to warn you, today's video, it's bad. It's not pleasant, but it is good for you to see so that you're informed and are not left in the dark. From President Joe Biden insulting the people of Maui to the insane things taking place behind the scenes, there's just so much information that I have to share with you that you're not going to find on mainstream media. Before we begin, I'm not sure how long I'll be allowed to be on here to keep bringing you the truth, so please follow me on Twitter as a backup. The link is down below. Also, be sure to watch this video in its entirety because there's a lot you do not want to miss. Let's begin. Where are the children of Maui?
I don't know. I wish
yes,
I knew
you do. How many children are missing? You know.
If I knew the answer to that, I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I guess
Nothing?
we can end this right now if you guys want. Sorry,
This is one of the biggest questions that the people of Lahaina have, but you don't want to answer.
It always takes one or two to ruin it for everybody.
Please, this is our first one. This is our only
Well, we could say that about you. You ruined it for everyone.
You're welcome to say it. You're the media. You can say whatever you want.
You're a disaster.
All right. Okay.
Please.
You've been the worst mayor we could possibly imagine.
You won't even wait.
Respect what? This is the most dismal response we've ever had.
You won't wait for your turn. You want to shout over these guys that are legitimate.
Why don't you give them the real answers then? Give them the real answers.
That's not his question.
Let him.
Yeah. You can go. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Where are the missing kids' parents? Why haven't we been hearing from them asking about their children?
We have no idea if any of them are children.
You will not identify yourself as
We have no idea.
Sir, we don't know who you are, and you're not identifying yourself.
That's independent journalist Nick Sorter. His social media says he flew in from Louisville 2 days ago.
You have the body. You know how many of them are children. How many children are dead? How many children are dead, Mayor?
After some near physical altercations, Bisson apologized to the crowd for the interruption, and before he left, he said there would be, quote, no reason for him not to report the accurate account of who was found at the Lahaina disaster scene, and that he is not trying to keep anything from the public.
Let's see what the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, has to say.
More than 1,000 are unaccounted for, about 1,050. It will take several weeks still. Some of the challenges are going to be extraordinary. As you reported, 85% of the land of the impact zone has been covered now by what amounts to an army of search and rescue teams and 41 dogs. So at 85% of the land's been covered. Now we go into the larger buildings, which require peeling back some of the floors and structures. That last 15% could take weeks. We do have extreme concerns that because of the temperature of the fire, the remains of those who have died in some cases may be impossible to recover meaningfully. So there are going to be people that are lost forever.
Josh Green has all the numbers, but nothing regarding the numbers or information on the missing kids.
We have 111 people that we've lost, and 45% now of the territory has been covered. There are now 41 rescue dogs and 270 personnel from Red Cross working this incredible challenge, plus search and rescue 195 people. We're ramping up every day. We're not 494 people from FEMA. We're constantly on with Washington and the White House talking about our crisis, but now we've got 950 people in hotel rooms. 414 hotel rooms are filling for those people, and 500 people housed by Airbnb. The recovery's ongoing. If you need support, come here. And tomorrow night, I will give a statewide address to share the bigger picture. Aloha.
Scott Adams tweeted, obviously families have reported who is missing. That means authorities know the numbers, the names, and the ages of the dead. There's a reason they're not telling you what they know. Just weeks before the fire, Green unveiled an emergency proclamation on housing, getting rid of the Land Use Commission red tape. This means the government can build how they'd like to, meaning 15-minute smart cities.
And remember the governor of Hawaii, who just happened to be off the island at the time of this? Well, just 1 month ago, He signed an executive order saying that the land can be taken away from the people if they need to rezone due to an emergency. So in January of this year, the Department of Hawaiian Homelands proposed a $75 million housing project on 51 acres in Lahaina. This was the area that was destroyed. This fits perfectly with the whole narrative from the World Economic Forum's plan for 15-minute cities, because it's wiping clear all this land that they've been trying to get for decades. Now they could put up these 15-minute cities. That those historic buildings have burnt to the ground. So now, just like what the governor put through in this executive order, they can be rezoned and won't be considered historical anymore. So now they can build on it.
A senior citizen of Lahaina is not having this. Here's what she had to say.
My office will not allow it. I have brought to the board the request that we return to the federal court, which is where we were 21 years ago, 22 years, and no corrective measures taken. You can do whatever you want, bring all your pala. You will not build on Mauna Kea. The die was cast, mark my words. You will not build on Mauna Kea. We have said it for 50 years.
The questions surrounding the fire in Maui are endless. For what we're being told is a natural wildfire, there is nothing natural about it. No FEMA response? That's not natural. No comment from the president in the White House? Donations unused and not allowed? Rings of fire, a significantly higher death toll than what's being reported, and fires only on native land. All not natural. We are in the beginning stages of the biggest collective awakening in the history of mankind. A book chronicling the events in Maui, Hawaii was published on Amazon on August 10th before the events had even concluded. How's that possible? Fire and Fury, the story of the 2023 Maui Fire Book. How did a climate change book get published about the Maui fires while the fires were still burning? So, no emergency sirens, police blocking the open access road, ordering people not to evacuate, no mainstream media coverage, complete mismanagement by the state and federal agencies, and offering any surviving families $700 per household. And the only time they've ever shut the water off was that day. That's right, while they were trying to extinguish the fires, and perhaps they would have, the water was turned off.
We were fighting. We felt like we were winning. We were keeping it at bay, keeping it off of the properties. The water shut off. Even the firemen that were patrolling couldn't refill their trucks. The fire just grew. The sparks started blowing over, and it just beat us in the end.
Okay, so where was the help? Where were the local and federal fire departments, and where was the military? Schofield Barracks is the largest military base in Hawaii and is operated by the Army. Originally designed to serve as a mobile defense for Pearl Harbor and all of Oahu, today it's home to over 36,000 troops and is a testing facility for chemical, biological weapon defense. Wait. You're telling us that there are 36,000 troops near Maui who specialize in protecting the U.S. against chemical and biological weapon attacks, but they were not called in or able to protect the residents of Maui from a fire? And that's only one of the Hawaiian military bases. There are actually 14 of them in total. In fact, there's also the largest Marine base on Oahu, and we're supposed to believe that they couldn't put out a fire, but they can protect us against foreign enemies.
We have the largest Marine base in the world, the largest Navy fleet right there. We can see the island. It could have been here in 12 hours.
You think that if he wanted to, the President of the United States or one of his chiefs of staff could have ordered military assistance from Pearl Harbor and the U.S. Pacific Fleet?
There's no question they could have done that. They did it for Ukraine way quicker than the response here in Hawaii.
Ironically, only 3 days ago, there was another fire, this time in Honolulu on the island of Oahu, and guess what? It was contained in only 13 hours with the help of the Honolulu Fire Department, the Federal Fire Department, and the U.S. Army, who provided 2 air assets and 1 brush truck. All the help was there when they needed it, so why over in Lahaina, Maui were people subjected to being trapped and helpless when they could have been provided with immediate support and rescue? Another unanswered question is about the Wi-Fi.
So this is the only Wi-Fi truck in all of the Napili Shopping Center. The third biggest hub on the west side, now that Lahaina is gone. The most people here, and this is the Wi-Fi. Why do they not want you to communicate with the rest of the world on the west side of Maui right now? The governor was here yesterday. Why would he not set up infrastructure so that everybody here could be communicating with everybody not here? The people on Oahu don't even know what's happening right now in full scale and detail. Ask questions. Ask questions. Demand answers.
One person solving the Wi-Fi communication issue is Elon Musk, who in previous videos we've seen donating Starlink so that Hawaiians are able to use uninterrupted internet. Musk replied to a post which showed Hawaiian official Kaleo Manuel shutting down access to water in Maui as the fire was destroying the island. Elon asked, doesn't that make him in large part responsible for the deaths? Great question. My question for Kaleo Manuel is, do you know what just so happens to put out fire? Water. Water puts out fire. We also heard Hawaii emergency officials last week saying they did not activate the sirens because people would have freaked out, so instead they thought it was just better to let them burn. The emergency alert system is not supposed to go down in an actual emergency. If they didn't want to actually use those emergency sirens, how about using the intercom system that's integrated with the sirens then? Oh, and what about the false missile alert warning 5 years ago?
And this morning, Hawaiian officials say they're determined to make sure that the false alarm that sent the entire state into panic never happens again.
Yeah, for 38 minutes yesterday, people feared that there was a missile flying through the air and about to hit Hawaii, and it's because of this alert. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. And this is a warning that was sent to people's phones. They showed up on their TVs. They played on the radio stations across the state.
State officials say all of this panic was caused by someone hitting the wrong button. And a federal investigation is now going to begin to figure out how one incident could cause this many problems.
You heard what they said, right? Television and text capabilities. So get this, their own government-produced video shows television and text capabilities. So why didn't they use those?
Emergency alert.
So in the state of Hawaii, we have a statewide alert and warning system, which we also call SAWS. That involves not only the siren warning system, but as well as IPAWS. IPAWS is the Integrated Public Alerts and Warning System provided by FEMA. And that has the emergency alert system, also known as EAS. It also has the wireless emergency alerts, which is known as WIA.
All right, so the Hawaiian missile attack was an accident, and the fall guy who took the responsibility for it quit. Now with the Maui fire, we know who the fall guy is, and he also quit. Tell me, what are the odds of two emergency managers whose sole job is to manage emergencies properly both making grave mistakes and resigning? If that's not crazy enough, there's land grabbing theories, refusing donations, higher death tolls than what's being reported, elite homes unharmed, and of course, the missing children. Then there's this.
This is Maui. Look at the millionaires and billionaires beachfront properties untouched. This was a massacre, an act of terrorism, to clear away the ordinary people of Maui inland. Absolutely distant that we're not trying to find out who these people are.
Folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's go deeper. They blocked traffic exits. They actually blocked people from retreating and told them to go back into the fire and to not panic. The Maui police chief ordered cops to block cars from being able to flee from the fire. As a result, men, women, and children were sadly forced to run for their lives as the firenadoes surrounded them.
Daytime. This is nighttime. There. Oh. Oh my God, I just turned it to night. Oh my God. Oh, why did I come out here? Oh.
A policeman from Iowa also chimed in and shared what he thinks about all this.
What the fuck are we doing in Maui? Like, seriously. Biden hasn't even went there yet. You'll give all this money and time and effort and resources to Ukraine, but you won't even do it to fellow Americans? Like, come on. Like, do we forget Hawaii's part of America? I mean, these people need help more than anybody. They're stuck on an island. Their governor's more worried about rebuilding Hawaii, but we still have 1,000 people missing. And you got an emergency management coordinator who Monday through Friday for however long the last several years, assumingly, he sat there and twiddled his thumbs thinking, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? Your sole job is preparing and planning for disasters, okay? Why don't you be on the offense instead of the defense? If there were to be a massive fire, how could we prevent that? What steps could we take? I don't know, let's cut down some dead trees or tree limbs around the utility areas. I don't know, maybe we can make the utility companies put flame retardant material so that this doesn't happen. Maybe we could not issue permits to homes to be built up in the mountains so that they're stuck there and surrounded by trees and they have no way to get out safely. Maybe when we're in a drought or there's high winds, we can make the utility companies put up fire watchers up there so if something does happen like it did, we can put it out. I don't know, I'm a nobody. Just a thought. That's with zero experience. Didn't need a bachelor's degree or a master's degree for that. But the one thing he could have done is he could have put on sirens, but he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that because he thought that the people would run into the fire. Are you a dipshit? If I'm in the ocean and somebody screams shark, I'm not going to swim farther out into the ocean. I'm going to go to the shore. These people could have seen the smoke, seen the fire, and ran the opposite way. This is why people hate the government. They're giving our tax money away to the wrong people, and they're not providing safety and security. And I can say that because I work for the government. Granted, I'm like down here, like the bottom, okay, compared to like up there. But still, come on. How come every time there's a disaster somewhere in America, the emergency management coordinator resigns? You know why? Because he didn't do his fucking job. Did not plan. Did not prepare. Every time. Every time. Show me one disaster we've had where somebody was like, that emergency management coordinator went above and beyond.
All right, this leads us to the Maui police chief, John Pelletier. This is the same guy who led the response to the deadly Las Vegas shooting in 2017. You know, the one with all the controversy and questions around it? As the police chief, this pivotal role places him responsible for ensuring the safety of not only 165,000 Maui residents, but also 3 million tourists who visit the island. Only 50 days after he started as police chief, he asked for a raise. Strange, right? What's even more strange is that they gave him more than he asked for. Pelletier went from a salary of $158,000 in December to $205,000 in less than 2 months. Last week, after 50 days on the job, Maui Police Chief John Pelletier asked the police commission for $195,000 a year instead of his current annual salary of $158,851. A 23% raise. However, commissioners believed he deserved more and recommended a 29% raise, which would come out to $205,000. Pelletier told police commissioners that he took a pay cut when he left Las Vegas as a police captain. Oh, okay, it makes sense now. I mean, he said he took a pay cut after, you know, the thing in Vegas. So now he'll probably quit the Maui force and go join another force and ask for another raise. Nothing to see here. Oh wait, there is. Hawaii News Now stated he was hired to improve transparency and accountability within the force. He ordered the police to reroute all of the citizens back into danger zones, refusing to let them get to safety. Sadly, many had to jump into the ocean to save their own lives. How's that for transparency?
People here. Maybe it's different for you because you just got here, huh? So it's not the same. It's not the same.
No comment?
You have to look up what photo.
No comment right now, guys.
No comment?
Yeah.
I'm talking to the chief, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
Why doesn't he want to speak to the people? Only to a camera.
You can do your statement later.
No, we called up. We've been looking for him. I thought we were going to do Top Story Tuesdays all over the island. He's coffee. Haven't seen him. We've been looking for him for a couple of years. What happened? Can you explain Pono to me again, sir, and Aloha? I'd love to hear it from you. Why are you shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head, sir? You don't want to answer, huh? Okay.
To talk to you another time, guys.
Yeah, you won't talk to us another time. That's the thing. It's a very cowardly move. It's shocking.
Maui Police Chief John Pelletier told reporters that the fire had melted metal, making the remains extremely difficult to identify.
When we find these, our family and our friends, the remains we're finding is through a fire that melted metal. We have to do rapid DNA to identify them. Every one of these 89 are John and Jane Does. We know we've got to go quick, but we got to do it right. So when we pick up the remains and they fall apart, and so when you have 200 people running through the scene yesterday, and some of you, that's what you're stepping on. I don't know how much more you want me to describe it. That's what you're stepping on. Give us a little bit of time to contain that. Please. Because we've got to go make 89 notifications. And coming from a place that had to make 58, I understand the pain this is going to take. And we're not done with 89. So just understand what this thing is, because none of us really know the size of it yet. Everybody wants a number. You want it fast or you want it right? We're gonna do it right.
Rest assured, everyone, John Pelletier is gonna do this right. And wait a second. He said metal melted? The average temperature of molten metal is between 2200 to 2500 degrees Fahrenheit, while wildfire temperature is up to 1400 degrees Fahrenheit max. That doesn't add up. Switching gears now. In the past, former President Donald Trump addressed the survivors of Texas and recently Maui as well, right away. But America has been waiting to hear from Joe Biden after his no comment statement.
President Trump traveling to storm-ravaged Texas today to offer some reassurances to the Lone Star State.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to say we love you. You are special. We're here to take care.
Touring a local emergency operations center.
The world is watching and the world is very impressed with what you're doing.
And vowing to local officials that they will have the federal support they need.
We're going to be working with Congress on helping out the state of Texas. It's going to be a costly proposition. Probably there's never been anything so expensive in our country's history.
Mr. President, thank you. Thank you.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott praised the Trump administration's response so far, saying federal officials have kept a low profile but offered vital assistance behind the scenes.
Any comments on the rising death toll on Maui?
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
Nothing there. Biden finally headed to Maui almost 2 weeks after wildfires devastated the island. Apparently, he needed to go on a vacation at the beach first before then heading to another vacation.
You guys catch the boots out here? That's a hot ground, man.
Hello to everybody. All right, Chris, we're going to jump ahead to the next spot, okay, guys? Thank you.
Interviewed while on Air Force One, Biden spokesperson Olivia Dalton says Biden has been there since day one.
I also just want to take a step back because I think it's important to remember that the president has been there from day one, marshaling a whole of government response to this. To the wildfires. And
Glenn Greenwald said George Bush was mauled for merely flying over New Orleans as citizens drowned during Katrina. Ted Cruz was mocked in a week-long news cycle for leaving Texas during its electricity crisis. Not only hasn't Biden visited Maui, but twice vacationed and has barely spoken on it. Kyle Becker tweeted, on CNN's State of Confusion, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says not to worry about Biden being absent during the Maui wildfires because he was being informed about them by text message. Meanwhile, he was doing this.
because he spent about 5 days not talking about this as many of the devastating images and numbers were coming. Do you think the Republican criticism of the president's willingness to talk about this in public or lack thereof is fair criticism?
You know, what I can tell you is the president directed me to go to Maui to assess the damage, meet with the governor, meet with the local officials, you know, giving me the opportunity in this space to make sure that I can understand what's going on, and then I report back to the president. I was in complete communication with him throughout this event.
Sadly, adding insult to injury to the good folks of Maui, Joe Biden actually forgot the name of their devastated island.
The Army helicopters help fire suppression and efforts on the Big Island because there's still some burning on the Big Island, not the one where you see on television all the time.
Locals are insulted and they're not happy, displaying their own personal messages to the president.
There are a bunch of people out here. They've been here for hours. A bunch of them are protesting. They have their makeshift signs, cardboard signs, a lot of them saying, as we've been talking about, that he's too late. Some of them feel that he should have been here much earlier. Other signs that say actions speak louder than words. So hearing a lot from the people here, as well as Hawaiian flags.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. It was difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your home. America's deadliest wildfire in over a century. And Jill and I have what's left, walked Front Street, what's left of it. We've surveyed the damage from the air as well. The devastation is overwhelming. To date, 114 dead, hundreds of people unaccounted for. I remember when I got the call, my first wife and daughter, I was a young senator, and I got a call in Washington. I hadn't been sworn in yet. I wasn't old enough. And I was hiring staff in the Capitol at Teddy Kennedy's office. And I got a phone call saying from my fire department, and a young first responder kind of panicked, "You got to come home. There's been an accident." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Your wife, she's dead. Come home. Come home." The tractor trailer had broadsided her and killed her in a car accident along with my little daughter. And I remember all the way down from Washington home wondering what a lot of people here are wondering. What about my two boys? How are they? They were in the car. I never got a read on that. Were they going to be all right? They were badly injured. Were they going to make it? Had they made it? Wasn't until I walked into the emergency room that I saw that they were there. The difference between knowing somebody's gone and worrying whether they're available to come back are two different things. You know, and
That's going to do it for today's video, as I have so much more information to share coming soon. If you agree that this level of corruption should not be tolerated and we need to do something about it immediately, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter by clicking the link in the description box below. You guys have been so wonderful about sharing your thoughts and concerns, so please do so on today's video as well by leaving a comment below. As always, I truly do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.